Today, I'm going to do something a little different with the Morris Minor. Now, I'm going to replace something. Can you guess what I'm replacing? I'll give you, I don't know, an amount of time. Hopefully you guessed correctly there. Yes, I am replacing the water pump. So, in order to replace the water pump, you have to open the hood. Once you have opened the hood, you pull the thing on the back of the hood to make sure, there's a thing on the back of the hood, to make sure that it's actually open. Now down there is a very badly broken water pump that is literally garbage. Yes, so the water pump on this car is garbage. Notice there is no water in the radiator. There is none. That is because my water pump has a leak. Now the pump does pump water. Very nice. Ow, I just hit my head. It does pump water, but when you dump water into the radiator, let me just show you here. It will actually leak out the water pump. I'm not sure if you can see, but that water pump is leaking, which is very bad, which means the rubber seal in there is just kaput. It's kaput. So I'm going to replace it. Now, luckily, I was able to find an OEM water pump. This water pump isn't to a Morris, though. It's to an Austin Healey Sprite or an MG Midget, but they have the same engine, so it will work. So it's basically how a water pump works. Is there's a rubber seal. I think this is the rubber seal, or it's somewhere in there, I think. And this is connected to the fan, which I'm going to have to remove. And the fan with the belt spinning causes this little wheel to spin, which is like a water wheel. If you've ever seen a water wheel, they use water to power it. This uses water and it pushes it out through these ducts in the engine, and that's what cools the engine. A water pump is a necessity unless you have an air-cooled engine. So, let's get to replacing it. Now, in order to take the water pump off this car, the first thing you got to do is take the cooling fan off. Now, this is the cooling fan. It's very loosely fitting. But that's the cooling fan, and that is held on with a few bolts. Now, what we want to do is we want to take those bolts off. So, what you have to do is get your socket and figure out what size head these are. I really hope they're not Whitworth. Now, some people would take the radiator out to do this, but I'm just going to leave the radiator in because it's way more work to take it out. So, let's take this fan off. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to say, I am not a mechanic. I am purely doing this for, entertainment reasons. I'm probably going to get a few things wrong, and I've already done this. I'm not taking the fan off first. I'm going to take the generator and the coil off first, because they are just in the way, and I have to get the water pump off, but these have to go. They are in the way, so let me do that. Luckily, the ignition coil is very easy to take off. It's literally just two nuts, and if I can figure this out, do this correctly, I should be able to get it off. Now, first try, let me get this off. When you're doing this, you gotta make sure, okay, what you have to do is make sure you do not lose any of these parts, because some of these parts are probably very hard to find. Like the nuts and the washers, what you want to do with these is you want to get a box. Now, I have a box right here. This is my box, and I am keeping all the washers and nuts. I know where all of them go, because of their sizes. I'm keeping everything in here, so I don't lose any, because all around here, it's like sandy loam dirt, which is very, very hard to find stuff in. So once you've done that, you've unbolted your resistor and your ignition coil, you can move these out of the way. I'm just going to ease mine right here. Not disconnecting anything. And now, the generator is just, I think it's just these two bolts here. Oh no, there's some bolts down there. Okay, let me remove the generator too, and I'll get back to you. So there's one thing I forgot to mention about this that I just found. Of course I forgot to mention it, because I just found it. This piece is removable, but I'm going to leave this piece in place. Now, if your BMC car, if you have fitted an alternator to your BMC car. I'm not sure how that would work with this, but I am gonna continue to use the original generator, so it will be used with mine. And apparently there are actually 3 bolts holding this generator on. There's one here, and then one on the bottom. The bottom one's a little bit tricky to get because it's really far down there. It's like down here, but I think I can get it. Sorry about the sunlight overexposing the camera. I'm thinking I'm going to put something up here. But, as you can see, it looks different, and I have the generator off. It came off fairly easily. Now, I can really show you what's going on. You notice there's no water in the radiator, but when I dump water in, you see the water coming down? All that water there? Here. All the water coming down. I've got a bad water pump. So I'm going to take this belt off now, because it's going to be in the way. The belt, I don't need any tools, and it won't take an hour to do, basically. So I can just pull this off by hand. What was that? I don't know what that was. It was definitely not a part. So I can just pull this belt off by hand. Actually, I'll leave it on the bottom one. But I can just pull it around the fan. Now it is off the fan, and I can get to work removing the fan. Let's figure something out that has severely... Well, I can do it, but it's going to be hard, though. I have to take the radiator off because there is almost no room between the fan and the radiator. No working room to get the fan off, but luckily the radiator is only held on with 3 hose clamps and 4 bolts. So this should be a piece of cake to get out. You see, taking this radiator off is actually a fairly easy job. All you need is the correct wrench, which in this case I'm using a 14 millimeter. And you just twist on the, there's 4 bolts holding it on. You go lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. For some reason, this bolt on here has 3 washers. So somebody messed this job up before. They used the wrong bolts, and they put 3 washers on this one bolt. That's pretty good. I am also having a snack while I'm doing this. Yeah, I just have to say that this bolt has 3 washers on it. Let me get it off and show you. It's actually a fairly easy job to take these bolts off. You just get a wrench or a spanner, and once they're off enough, you can just twist them the rest of the way. No, my bad, 2 washers. This bolt has 2 plastic washers on it. Disconnected one of the radiator hoses, and see this giant river there. I've disconnected one of the radiator hoses that are on the bottom. Now I gotta do the one on this side, and I'm just gonna pull up carefully. I'm gonna pause the camera because I gotta do this really carefully. It's gonna take a while. In the past, somebody has put radiator stop leak into this radiator, and these are just not budging. And I'm not gonna cut them. I'm just saying that somebody has put radiator stop leak in this previously. Now I can take the radiator out. I have all the hoses disconnected, I think. And now all I theoretically is lift up. Oh, got some water on my foot. But there is a radiatorless Morse miner. The radiator's right here. Sure, some of the fins are bent, but I think it looks pretty good. Wow, look through there. You can see the fan now. Okay. Now I can take the fan off, and it will be way easier to change the water pump. Fan off, here it is. And I'm speaking like this. I have never seen a radiator fan like this. It's 2 pieces, and under there, you can see the original color is this bronze, this bronze color, which is really cool. It's the same color as the valve cover there. So, it's weird that the valve cover and the fan are brown, but the rest of the engine is British racing green. You can get at the all-important water pump. So I gotta figure out how this is attached. I think it's just these bolts going along, and then I can take it off. So let's take it off. All the bolts out of the water pump. According to my little thing here, this is my original water pump. I've put all of the old water pump bolts in my This is the new water pump. All of the new bolts, all of the old bolts are in the new water pump, where they go. And you might be wondering what that hole's for. That's for the generator. And this is for the fan, which spins. Oh, you don't want to knock that over and get it filled with dirt. Why do you think I got it out in a bag? Also, I'm going to pull this old water pump off now. I think I'm going to get a hammer and just tap it off. Okay, so I have my hammer. I'm just going to start tapping. Okay, water is coming out. Here it comes. And, oh, I forgot to take this hose off. Hold on, I'll be back in 1 second. I am back with a screwdriver. And what I'm going to do is just loosen this hose clamp and pull this down. There's our old water pump. And weirdly, it has a hole in the bottom. That also has a hole in the bottom. But if we look at this, I tell that this water pump has been replaced in the past. Even though they look the same, they are not. And the one big reason why I'm keeping this water pump, it has a Leyland sticker. It has a Leyland embossment on it. My car was made before Leyland. So that water pump has been replaced. I think around 1980 something, but that water pump, it has been replaced in the past. And now we can look at the water pump. It's the water pump place. We're going to clean that all off. Wow, look at it in there. Look at all the stop leak everywhere. But it should be fine. We're going to clean it all off. We're going to put the new water pump gasket on. And then we're going to put the new water pump on. And this is going to be fun. You have your water pump off and your new water pump standing by. What you want to do is scrape the water pump hole flat, which I have done. I think it came out really nice and flat. What is this anyway? It's nothing, it's just stop leak. But it's scraped flat. And make sure you put your RTV or gasket sealant on your new water pump gasket. This water pump did not have a gasket on it, which is why it was leaking, but this has this gasket. It's brand new. Oh, by the way, this water pump is brand new. Let me show you this water pump. This thing is brand new from Moss Motors. It's from an MG Midget Austin Healey Sprite, either one of those two cars. But before you do that, you got to transfer this hose to this. Before you put this on, you have to transfer this hose to this. And also, I'm going to take a little break because I've been working for about an hour right now. And I'm just going to take a break and get something to drink. It's been about 20 minutes. Now, the water pump is technically on, but I haven't bolted it down yet. So, I'm going to do that right now. You got to switch your thing to right side. And then what you do is you just grasp the bolt and tighten it again. I got to do this. Nope, I was the correct way before. Now, I'm not going to tighten these one by one. I'm going to do these, well, I am going to tighten them one by one, but I'm going to do them in a pattern series as to not warp or damage anything. Let me just do that. Water pump is now bolted down nice and tight. I can actually move the car up and down from the water pump. Let's put the rest of the accessories on. Okay, hold on. Let me close this curtain over here so you can get better look at stuff. Okay, that made things slightly better. So I got the bottom bolt on the generator, and I thought I would mention this. Oh, sorry, that bolt's not to this. These two bolts are to hold the generator on, but you notice they're different sizes. That's because there's a weird lip. This is where the generator actually connects to the water pump to hold it on. That lip is there, so this bolt is longer than this one. As you can see, this bolt is longer than this one. This bolt is for this side of the generator, while this bolt is for this side of the generator. I just thought I'd mention that in case some people watching trying to replace their, trying to put the generator back on, if they ran into trouble there. Now everything is back together the way it should be. Except for the bumper being on, which I will put on. Let me just put the camera down. I'll put the bumper on right now. Okay, now that everything is back on the car and good, I'm going to tell you my opinion on changing your water pump. So, I really think if you start having a water pump leak, definitely change your water pump, especially if you have a car that's easy to get at. That the water pump is easy to get at like this. All I had to do was take the generator, the ignition coil, and the radiator off. And everything's tightened up, the belt's tightened up, everything is perfect. So I'm going to put some coolant in it, drive it around for a little bit. All the air that is in the system will bleed out through the overflow, I think it's called, which is actually broken on this car. So all the remaining air in the system will bleed out through here. And what I just want to show you is the old water pump. I'm going to keep this water pump, not only because it says British Leyland on it, but because there is a massive issue with using Radiator's stop leak. I'm going to show you right now. So this is the original water, this is not the original water pump, this is the water pump I just took off. You can tell it's not original because it has a Leyland thing on it, and this car came out before British Leyland, so this has obviously been replaced. What I wanted to show you was the stop leak everywhere. And not just there, but you see this? This is supposed to be a hole, and that is completely clogged and jammed up with stop leak. Everything is broken. I didn't see much stop leak in the engine, though, so I think that's fine. But this water pump is just garbage. It's destroyed. This could not be rebuilt. Which is why I'm going to use this as a wall decoration. I think that would be the coolest wall decoration ever. Well, now that I'm done with fixing the water pump, thanks for watching.